Hey guys, it's Joe with VMP's Tuning Tuesday, Season 3, Episode 24. Here to answer any questions you have. Today we're doing a short show. We're all slammed. Matt's out working on a car that a customer is waiting for right now, and I just came off doing emissions tuning on our 18 GT. So here for you guys, just here for a short time today. So happy to answer any questions you have. Something that seems to be coming up a lot lately now that we're selling flex fuel tunes. Flex fuel, basically anywhere from E54 to E85 is considered flex fuel in most areas, sometimes as low as E30. Flex fuel is just that. It's basically, flex fuel is designed for use in cars that are designed to use a mixture of ethanol from 0% all the way up to 85%. They're set up to either infer or directly measure ethanol content in the fuel and make changes based on that. E85 and flex fuel are one and the same. E85, you can have an E85 tune that is specifically just for E85, or you can have a flex fuel tune that can run E85, it can run 93, it can run E30, it can run E50, anywhere in between. And that's kind of my only public service announcement I have so far. Yeah, I guess we'll go questions if we have any yet.
Nothing yet, Joe.
So nobody gets scared. Matt still works here. He's just out working at the moment.
Yeah.
In the meantime, I'll handle an email. How about that?
What kind of car is Joe? You're Joe. What kind of car is Matt working on?
He's working on a 15 to 17 S550 Mustang. He's getting things done out there.
There we go, Joe.
Got one?
Got a few coming in.
Okay.
All right.
1 second. Posty. All right. So we have Leach Motorsports on a 17 MT82 car on sticky tires. What would cause the computer to force the throttle body to close most of the way when hitting second gear hard? Probably the clutch protection logic. Mike Moore got my tune email this morning. Can't wait to get it loaded tonight. To get out loaded tonight. Glad to hear, Mike. I think I'm the one that sent that to you this morning. Mitza Pounder. I'm putting rods and pistons in my Gen 1. Should I change the Gen 1 heads to Boss or Gen 2? That's really your call, homie. If I was going to do anything, I'd put Boss heads in it. They're a different casting or a different material of aluminum, and they're a bit better than even Gen 2 heads. Austin Brooks. Hola BB. Lewis, meth for cooling or nitrous? Nitrous works a lot better for cooling than meth does, in my opinion. I'll hop back over to my email here. Come on, guys, you got more than this. You can't fool me. Asking all them questions, making statements, assuming. Mm-hmm. On Friday. All right. Back at it. Joe Thibodeau. What up from Texas? Not a whole lot. We're probably around the same temperature as you guys are right now. I guess depends on where you are in Texas. Lewis, how much of a shot? You don't need a lot to get cooling from nitrous. You could probably run a 25, 50 shot, somewhere in that range. It just depends on your setup and whether or not your setup would support nitrous. Most setups do, just by retarding timing and having enough headroom on fueling. But Brian Gill, what a ported stock intake yield any gains? on a NA19 Auto Mustang, thanks. Small gains. In my opinion, the only reason to do a ported intake is if you already have it off. I wouldn't pull an intake to have it ported. Lewis, wet or dry? Depends on how much you're trying to inject. Wet works, dry works. If we're talking about a Coyote ECU, I'd probably prefer to see it be a wet shot than I would see it a dry shot. Mike Moore, have you seen mass failures with 525 Hellcat pumps? I have not. Keeping it quick and to the point today, BB. Oh, you know. I'm ready when you are. It's all good. Alright. Brian Gill, would a ported intake yield? I already asked that one. Yeah, he got you in full systems, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Jonathan D. Napoli, are you guys still going to be producing Gen 2 Rs? I don't want to speak out of turn, but I want to say we're going to stop producing Gen 2 Rs. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I believe that's the plan. Nick Geikus, what nitrous system do you recommend for Roush Supercharger 2017 GT? Either a nozzle or a plate kit. If you still have the Roush Cold Air, it's a little tricky. You'd have to use like a double nut fitting, almost like a bulkhead pass-through style fitting to get it to where it seals. And the problem with that is it's a silicone tube. There is a hard metal part of the tube, but yeah, you can do either plate kit or a nozzle. At the end of the day, I don't really care. And just make sure it has whatever kit you get, make sure it has a window switch, and wet is preferred on the shot of nitrous. Matt A, what's max horsepower you've seen out of your VMP fuel system on E85? We had that same fuel system on Track Attack. I think it made 1141 tire, something like that. I'd have to go back and look. I'd say that's the highest I've seen on our fuel system, and I was monitoring fuel pressure, and fuel pressure was perfect on that, so there was more headroom on top of that. Joe Thibodeau, lol, just call me Joe, and what do you think about a 5.0 swap new edge with your Odin? I think that'd be a very fast car, and it'd fit under the hood very nicely. I obviously can't say it's going to fit under a stock hood, but it's going to fit better than a Gen 2R, Gen 3, or Gen 3R blower would. Jeff Scarland, not a Chevy fan, but like that GTO you had on Facebook, I'd at least flog her at the track before you sell her. Yeah, since my whole point behind getting that was to be able to sell it, I don't really have any interest in driving it at the track, because if something breaks, that's profit I'm out on the car. And not to say that I don't think the car's stout the way it is, but God forbid I get wheel hop or something and it breaks a half shaft or breaks a diff, then I got to go trying to hunt one of those down and throw it in the car, and then that chews up my profit. I got plenty of fast cars, and my truck's faster than that car is, so it's not really going to do anything for me from a track time standpoint. It sounds awesome, and it makes good power for a naturally aspirated LS, but at the end of the day, I got stuff that's faster and more fun for me, so that'll just be, once I finish all the stuff on that, it'll just go away. But yeah, no track time for that. Paxton 5.0, is it worth going with a meth kit for cooling 17 GT with a VMP Gen 3 and E85? If you're on E85, I wouldn't say it'd be worth it going with a meth kit. Jason Reffer, sorry man, on my Gen 1 swap car, is the Aeromotive 340 pumps enough to support E85 or maybe a power adder 3/8 fuel line return style fuel system? I've seen Aeromotive 340s do it. I've also seen Aeromotive 340s lose pressure up top. I don't know if that was a fuel system configuration or just some weird limit of the pump in the configuration it was in. But I'd say your better bet would just be to run a single Walbro 465. You're going to be out similar money doing the two different pumps, and the 465 is pretty tried and true. Eric Struble, you put Matt on my problem child. All seriousness, thanks for helping get that Celine right for me, guys. No problem, man. And Joe, I'm thinking 1,000 of the wheel. I got to go look up at your question. Yeah, Odin will do 1,000 of the wheel. You just need the right supporting mods. So like ID 1300s would be the minimum fuel injector for something like that. If you're not talking about something that's nitrous wet shot. ID 1300s, twin Walbro 465s. Probably go with the 163R throttle body, the VMP cold air intake. It'll probably fit pretty nicely on a new Edge. We obviously haven't confirmed fitment, but just knowing spatially how the new Edges are, it'd probably fit pretty good. And let me make sure there's more down here. Lewis, before the intake sensor, after with a wet shot? After with a wet shot. I'm not interested in trying to blow a MAF. This isn't an old setup where you're trying to get it to fuel more by blowing nitrous over the mass airflow sensor. So yeah, if we're running a wet shot after the mass airflow sensor, preferably pretty close to the throttle body, but it's basically as far away from the MAF as we can get it, and make sure that the shark nozzle is pointed towards the blower, not towards the mass airflow sensor itself. Matt A, what's the smallest pulley you'd recommend on stock Gen 1, Gen 2R blower on E? Really depends on how risky you're willing to get with it. We have some of those Gen 1s that make it a long time at stupid boost, and you get some that even on low boost don't make it that long. But I'd say keep it probably on a 72 on E. Should live for a while. Scott Frost, totally stock 07 GT500 with 6,000 miles. Any chance of Power Rack going on sale again anytime soon? Power Pack, my bad. Which Power Pack? Because we have like 7 of them for GT500s. The only sale I know of that's like guaranteed that we do every year is Black Friday. We might have a sale sometime between now and then, but I can't speak to when. But your solid bet's Black Friday if you really want to bank on being able to wait for a sale.
I would say Black Friday. Look around for the different holidays, like it's July 4th, all that stuff.
Yeah.
We did one on Memorial Day. I'm not saying there will be one on July 4th. I'm just saying if you're looking for that, look around the holidays.
Yeah, we usually do sales around holidays, so if you're going to get one, it'll be then. The only one I can really guarantee that we're going to do is Black Friday, because we do that every year. And then we got Rob Bradshaw, new to the channel, opinion on 2021 Mach 1. Mixed feelings. I don't really think it's anything super crazy special, but it's cool. What's up? You want to come sit? You can come sit if you want. Now introducing special guest Chuck. Chuck's trying to make sure I don't have to fly solo. I'll slide my screen over your way.
I felt like I just tuned in and I saw you were in here doing this alone. Can't have that.
Man, it happens.
I can't answer any tuning questions.
Flying solo. I'll enhance for you. Should we answer Brian's question while we wait?
I do have a question.
Fire away, homie.
So I saw, I'm editing a video right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm editing the Gen 3R install, like the new update with the thing and the stuff.
Yep.
And there's a part where Big Germ has to like wire things in, right, to this like big connector, this whole mess of wires, right? And I never really understood how to wire things into things, right? So was it literally you just take this razor blade, you cut this piece of insulation, you mix the two copper pieces, and now it's together?
Yeah, that's part of the process, yeah.
So then what's the step after that? Like what's the steps after that?
So you could either solder the joint, you could use a like heat shrink and glue combination to cover that joint.
I've seen that, okay.
Electricity is not like data. So
Yeah.
like fiber would require like a precise, so the data can actually travel a pathway, but electricity just
Especially
doesn't
if you're
really
talking
care.
optical, like fiber
Yeah.
optics.
Oh, okay, so it doesn't care, so it just needs something to
Conductivity, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, which is why when you guys use, like when you solder it, that's like really.
That's like the, yeah,
Right?
soldering.
I wouldn't say it's like superconductive stuff. It's more so about making the connection semi-permanent. Because if you just put the wires together, you can pull that joint apart.
Uh-huh.
So when you put solder in it, you're kind of making that a physical joint or a joining point.
So it doesn't come apart.
Yeah, it doesn't come apart. And
Electrical welding, if you will.
yeah,
Got it, okay.
yeah.
Well, that was a lot simpler question than what I thought. It seems way, like you guys make it seem it's much more like majestic. I don't really know what's happening, I'm just holding the camera.
It's all good. All you gotta do is keep that camera pointed, baby.
Sure, that's it, that's all I do.
But yeah, my opinion of the 2021 Mach 1 is it left a bit to be desired, but can we really say that we're surprised that Ford didn't do more with it?
I like that they put the 3160.
I mean, they put a different trans in it. Yeah, that's cool.
And it's a 5-liter though. It should have been a 5.2.
Yeah, I really would have preferred a 5.2 crossplane like the 5.2 XS.
Yeah, and something like she really needed a shaker hood. But what I don't understand is like the Mach 1 pedigree has always been a drag racing car with a better motor, right? Solid rear axle, better motor than what the GT had. A shaker hood, things that identified it as a Mach 1, and then it's almost like this new generation of Mach 1 was more like a track car, like a glorified GT350. It's not even
Quite up
as
to
good.
GT350 spec.
Yeah, it's like if they would have done like solid rear axle type mentality, maybe don't actually put a solid rear axle. It's the same mentality.
Just
in
a
the
drag
bike.
racing mentality.
That would have been really cool, and they didn't. They just put a stripe pack on a GT and slapped it on the door.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Left a bit to be desired. Janssen 50, good day. Any PIDs to log to analyze the health of my 6R80? You're not going to find many PIDs that are really going to tell you about the health of the 6R80. It's basically going to be DMRs. Vegas 50, 16 GT, built motor, 1101, Gen 3R, 2.7 upper, 5% lower, 163R, E85, enough to make 1,000 wheel. Through what trans? Is it 6R80?
I feel like you're getting close.
The 2.7 upper is pretty spicy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Built motor 1101. What is
That's basically
stock,
stock
right?
compression, if not a little bit less, because I
Yeah.
think stock's technically 11.2 to 1.
That's like the biggest thing I've picked up on since working here. It's like, man, compression matters.
It does. Those 10 to 1 and 9 to 1 and 8 to 1 motors don't make near the power the 11 to 1 motors do.
No, that's why I was like,
Or engines,
I didn't know
should
much
say.
about the 03 Cobra platform when I started here, and I was like, oh, that's why.
Yep.
Really low compression.
8.5 to 1. That's why they can run 20 pounds on 93.
Right.
Do either of you know Bobby Williams?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know Bobby Williams?
Yeah. Yeah. And then Mike Moore on my 18 with the standard Odin kit, 93 plus boosting. What's the smallest pulley and max boost you feel comfortable tuning me for? What power do you think it would yield? Hi, Chuck.
Hi, Mike.
On an 88 millimeter pulley on boosting, it'll probably make 680, 700 wheel. Or that's basically on 93. With boosting, it'll make more than that. How much more than that? It really depends on how aggressive we're willing to get with it.
On the Bullet, we ran 93 in boosting. I think Mike's car is an A10, and the Bullet was obviously an MT82.
Yeah.
But from what we've seen, they actually dyno really similarly.
Yeah.
We made 748 with the Bullet.
Yeah, 748, 750, somewhere in that range. And then Chris Mitchell's car was 93 octane, and that one was 700 wheel. And then we had, our car was like 720 wheel. So it's...
93 in boosting, 700 to 750, depends on the car.
Yeah, it depends on how aggressive we're getting with it.
Yeah. What boost level is that? It's like 11 or 12 PSI, right?
On a stage 2, that should be around 12 PSI peak.
Yeah.
11, probably closer to 11.5, depending on where he's revving it.
Right.
Dale Singh, Gen 1 Coyote built rods and pistons. How much power would be max with VMP Gen 2R? I've seen like 850, 880 out of Gen 2Rs.
There was a thread about this yesterday on one of the forums.
It may be the same guy, or maybe you watched the thread or something. Yeah, if you go on a crazy build, obviously not just rods, pistons, you can make about 1,000 wheel. But on a mild build that's just rods and pistons, no increase in compression, no cams, no ported heads, none of that junk, then you're probably going to be in the 800 to 880 range.
What's the most you've seen from a Gen 2R? Have you seen 1,000 from a Gen 2R?
I think Rebecca's car at one point in time made 1,000 with a Gen 2R.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
That's a lot of power for a 2.3.
Mm-hmm. Especially since it would have probably only been 20 to 22 pounds of boost.
Yeah.
Somewhere around there. Janssen 5.0, NGK versus Brisk plugs. What's your go-to plug for nitrous or boost? So for a long time we ran Brisks. The time before that we ran NGK. And now a lot of the cars are getting NGK again. If it was my personal car, I'd get NGK. That's not to say the Brisk plugs are necessarily bad, but we have noticed a higher out-of-the-box reliability rate out of NGKs.
Well said.
So we tend to throw those in just about everything.
We still sell a decent amount of the Brisk plugs. And
we do, and
I
they
wouldn't
do
say
offer...
that it's like a regular thing to have a problem with them.
No, it's just we run a lot of plugs.
Yeah.
So if anyone's gonna see an issue from an out-of-the-box plug, it's gonna be us. And it happened sometimes, but at the same time, NGK makes a kick-ass plug. I could count on one hand how many times I've seen them be bad out of the box.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Brisks has a little bit more, their numbering lettering system, it's a bit easier to choose the right plug for your combination.
Absolutely.
You get into the part numbers and NGKs and stuff gets a little confusing.
I don't think 3690 really means anything, does it?
No, I don't know how to decrypt a NGK part number. I just know which part numbers I need for certain applications. But Brisk, I can tell you what each one is versus an NGK style heat range and the difference between Y and YS and all that stuff. But both of them will do just fine as long as you're choosing the right plug for the application. Do you know Matt A's question? If not, I'll answer it.
What's the tread size on the pulley bolts? I don't know. I think they're like, I don't want to guess and be wrong. I actually don't remember.
So they're M5 by 1.0, if I recall correctly.
I was going to say M6, so I was already starting off wrong.
It's okay. M6 is actually a decent sized bolt, but now I'm curious. I'm sure it's on the website.
Yeah, I think the VMP-Hub 6 part number will actually show you.
Pulley bolts. Notice how it just looked pull. How does that happen?
Come on, search.
We'll try Hub 6. Bum, 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 bum. It doesn't. M6.
Uh-huh.
So it'd be M6 by 1.0. You were right.
Oh,
God damn.
chalk that one up for Chuck.
Yeah, I know, right? One team Chuck. Bobby Williams is a top fan, I believe, and Joe going solo.
60% less Chuck.
Oh, man. Well, maybe he wrote that before Chuck got on screen.
That's true.
That's what we'll have to hope, or else I'll cry myself to sleep tonight. No big deal.
Ruby the Obnoxious 5.0, roundabout horsepower numbers on 19, GT 10R80, JLT cold air intake, engine 7/8 long tubes, full 3-inch exhaust on E85. What should it make putting Odin on it? Thanks for y'all's info. It's very helpful, guys.
I've seen those make 500.
I have too. A 10R80, well, being that it's 10R80, it'd probably make 490 to 500 wheel. And what should it make with Odin? It really depends on how much boost you put it on and whether or not you're still running E85.
Yeah, really the only thing that would transfer over would be his exhaust in the E85. You'd have to put some fuel system support in there to run the E85 with Odin.
Yeah.
But, I would say long tube car with Odin on the 85, Sting mode Mike Petty, you're 800 to 850.
Yeah, and that's with fuel system.
Yes,
And then
yes.
if you're not fuel system, then 680 to 720 wheel, and that'd be on like 93 octane. And then on E85, depending on what you do for supporting mods and fuel system, as high as 1,000 wheels, not out of the question.
Yep.
I mean, technically, based on the math, cars that we've had that make 1,000 wheel on our dyno are actually making quite a bit more than 1,000 horsepower based on trap speed and weight.
Yeah.
So.
We've got proof of that.
Mm-hmm.
But stock motor stuff, at your own risk.
Yeah, exactly. How long will it last at that level? I don't know.
Could last forever, could last one pass.
Are you really lucky on dice?
Yeah. How's the casino treat you?
Exactly. Dave Franks, hey guys, am I good to run E85 with the setup, or what do I need? MMR built 3-valve, GT500 pumps, hat, and wire kit, 60-pound Siemens Deca, stock fuel rails, Paxton 2200 SL, 10 PSI at 4,000 feet. I'd say the only thing you really have going for you trying to run E85 in a setup like that is that you're only running 10 pounds of boost because of your elevation. It will probably support it. I'd have to throw the 60s in a calculator real quick to try and figure out where their approximate duty cycle would be, depending on what pressure you're running them at. But should it do E85? Yeah. Can I guarantee it? No. You may have to run something a little bit bigger than 60s.
At 4,000 altitude.
That sucks.
It's up there.
So, like, New Mexico, Arizona, somewhere in Colorado.
Yeah.
He's somewhere up high. He's so high.
Real high.
Chance Kaiser. So I brought my 2020 PP1A10 to the track, stock tire, and ran 1173 at 121. Brian, I know why you're laughing. You think I can get in the 10s with tuning the tire? I think it's possible. I think you're more likely to get in the 10s on a fuel like E85.
Stock tire went 11.7?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
I think I did something similar in R18 a couple years
Really?
ago.
It's good prep.
Jesse Spiker, when did Mac get so handsome? Oh,
Yeah.
God, Jesse.
I think.
At least I didn't have to do it.
Oh, we got 2 more then.
It makes me feel, I was going like 12.0 at 120 like our stock. I'm telling you, man, I'm really good at smashing the skinny pedal, bro. But
All right, so let me rephrase that. I went faster tune only, but VMP 2018 Mustang.
These are the last 2.
I'm 3/10 off this guy's pace, and a mile an
I know,
hour
right?
down. And that was at Mod Nats in like frigid weather.
And the good.
Yeah.
We'll go back once. Does this say? Tell me it's in the description. Make my life easy.
We just clickbaited too much. We don't actually have the answer now.
Oh man, that'd be too easy. All right, so we're going back to questions then. Robert Whedon, what's the advantage to running a non-projected tip plug like a BR7EF versus a TR7iX on a 12 GT500 Gen 2R 2.4 Poly 93 octane? I'd say that it's not really going to be advantageous. Typically, a non-projected tip plug would be something that we'd recommend on a super high boost setup, or like a car that's on nitrous, stuff like that. For what you're trying to do with a car, a TR7iX should be just fine. For example's sake, a 1314 GT500 runs a SP471, which is a projected tip plug, and technically you're only about a pound and a half, 2 pounds more boost than what that would run, and you're at a smaller displacement too. So yeah, I guess in conclusion, I don't think there'd really be an advantage to running a non-projected tip plug, other than you're getting the hot part of the plug out of the, I don't know, out of the spicy zone, I want to call it. Root beer. The spicy zone. Are there replacement fuel hats for the stock pumps? I'm having trouble getting fuel with E85 when cornering more than 1.2 G. I'd say put a surge tank in. Would really be your best bet.
Or a baffle. Does anyone
Yeah,
make, like,
and
a
even
drop-in
then, the
baffle?
basket in the most like S550 fuel hats.
They have
it's
check
built in.
valves and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so I'd say your best bet would probably be a surge tank, but you probably need to look into oil control if you're consistently going 1.2 G as well.
Aeromotive sells a, they call it a jet siphon. That, because like I'm assuming, well, he didn't really say what the car is. You know, if it's an S550, it's saddle tank, and there's actually a siphon that pulls over from the other side of the tank. Aeromotive makes like a little replacement piece for that supposedly does a better job of pulling from both sides of the tank during cornering and stuff.
Interesting.
But that's assuming it's an S550.
What did you say, Brian?
You guys want an Odin question before we kill it?
Sure.
Yeah, I'm down. Give the people what they want, Brian.
This is like, what do they call it? This is the encore.
Yeah, we'll do encore.
They're throwing roses at your feet, kid.
Timothy can do, or can.
Why did you? Oh, I see.
The do was next to it. That's why I said that. Do you think killer chiller system would improve upon the heat exchanger on Odin? So technically, a killer chiller would reduce the temperature flowing through the cores below ambient. Anytime you're going below ambient, you're doing better than just a standard heat exchanger would do.
Yeah.
Period.
I can't help but feel like it doesn't need it though. Like okay. So would it benefit from it? Yes. Has any of the vehicles that we've tested on it really needed it?
I wouldn't say it was necessary on any of the vehicles we've tested it on, but it's probably one of those things that wouldn't hurt if someone either A, already had it on their car, or B, they're just looking to go crazy with it in terms of what they're doing from a cooling standpoint.
I guess your IATs could never be too good.
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, you could do that. And then Root Beer says it's 2017 GT Performance Pack. So yeah. Radium surge tank, or maybe look into that aeromotive check valve Chuck was talking about.
Yeah, jet siphon is what they call it. Give it a shot. It is kind of strange though. I feel like you must be really low on fuel to actually have that problem. This is a factory siphon setup. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't really heard of anyone having fuel issues with stock pumps and a stock hat.
This car's factory, what's the fuel filter setup like?
There isn't like a inline fuel filter. The fuel filter is just the socks and the pump.
I would pull the pump out and check to make sure you don't have anything clogging the system up.
I mean, in theory,
that wouldn't be during
you'd
cornering
see
only,
yeah, you'd see a clog at wide open throttle where your fuel demand's higher, as opposed to coming out of a corner at what I can only assume to be lower RPM.
Yeah, that's strange. It's a weird problem to have.
Yeah. And with that, we're out of here. I got stuff I got to do. I'm sure Chuck has stuff he has to do. Brian's got stuff he's got to do.
We got push-ups we're
I
gonna do.
know, right?
It's time for push-ups.
Oh, man. Oh, it's on 10, yep. And with that, have a good day, kids. If you have any more questions, anything like that, Thursday, we do Burnout Box. If not, we'll see you next Tuesday.
Thanks, guys.